Hey y'all, welcome to Stivers Homestead. I'm Zach.
I'm Jen.
And we are getting closer and closer to T-Bone's due date to head off to the butcher. So if you're new to the channel, T-Bone is our young bull that we have. We have made the decision that he is going to be harvested. That means we're about to have a lot of meat, which is a good problem to have. Problem is, our freezer, our one freezer, we know we need more, is full. So we are in process of trying to preserve more and not be reliant on freezers.
Which we're not very.
No.
But we do raise animals for meat, and some of that does go to the freezer. Yeah,
especially immediately. You know, like we can take it out and start canning it, but we are not going to like start canning a 1,000-pound bull as soon as we get it back. Okay, so we have got some peppers and we've got some meat, and this is what we're going to do with it.
Okay, so last year, well, every year really, we grow a ton of jalapenos.
That's how I eat.
Last year was no different. We've made cowboy candy, which we still have some of. We're about to run out, but it's enough to last us until pepper season. So I don't want to make a ton of that. So these are frozen. We just basically froze them whole, I think.
Yeah, they're completely whole.
Some might have their tops removed, and we might have taken the seeds out. But either way, we just shoved them in the freezer, and now it is time to do something. So we've got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bags of jalapenos. We've got 1 bag of cayenne peppers, 1 bag of, these are not hot peppers, they were like pepperoncinis, habanadas, bananas, just regular peppers. And then 1 bag of the sugar rush peppers, which are extremely hot.
And not sugary.
Yeah, not sugary. So we're gonna freeze dry all these and then probably turn them into powder. We might just go from there and see, but that's the first plan. Get them out of the freezer and put them into the freeze dryer. So that's exciting. That freed up some space. Just wait.
Yeah. The mailman's here. And just like any other place, our dogs go nuts when the mailman's here. Some exciting things in there, hopefully. All right, now after the mailman rudely interrupted us, I'm just kidding. So she has, what we got? 1, 2, 3, 4 roasts?
Yes.
Is that right? 4 roasts, and butcher box roast. And are we going to be canning or harvest drying them?
We are going to can them. So we're going to can meat. We can meat. It's something we do. But these are just butcher box. These are not mama roast. I think we only have 1 roast left from Mama Pig. And I don't want to can that because it's more of a, I don't know.
It's fresh. It's ours.
Yeah.
We eat it fresh.
And we, like, you know, it's a thing when you eat it. So, I don't know. That sounded weird. But if you raise your own meat, you know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to can it. So, yeah, 4 roasts. And then I've got 2 bags of, this was the last of the zucchini.
There's actually a couple out there.
Okay. Well, this was the last round. I specifically remember it because I didn't want to can it. And I was like, whatever, I'll chop it up and freeze it. And I'm going to thaw those out because we're going to make zucchini bread. Yum. Yeah. And those roasts came from Butcher Box, but these also came from Butcher Box. We've been doing Butcher Box for about 2 or 3 years now, and almost every month we get a huge pork.
And you know why?
Thing. What is this? A shoulder?
Pork butts. And you know why we get one of these every month? Because we forget to remove it off our Butcher Box every month. I like barbecuing, but like we don't have like a lot of people.
They don't have any friends.
Yeah, they come around here very often, and so we'll eat one like once every 3 months. Yeah. So we have acquired quite a few.
How many other? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's
huge
5
pork butts for a family of 4.
We're gonna can those too. We're gonna chop them up and can them. I don't think none of that's probably gonna be in this video because this is gonna take a few days to thaw. But when we do it, we'll do a video.
Yeah, this is giving that teaser to get going, and this will actually help us out because then when we may want pork butt, we'll have it in a smaller quantity than having to get the smoker out.
For just the 4 of us.
Right, having to get the smoker out and feed 25 people. Yeah. Okay, so I've gotten, it almost held all of the jalapenos, which was very impressive. I didn't think it would, but we've gotten all the jalapenos out on the trays. We are leaving them just like they are. I mean, they're solid as a rock. They're frozen, which is a good thing for the freeze dryer. You want them pre-froze. But if they weren't, we would probably take the tops off, maybe try to take some seeds out. Because that's just going to make it extra spicy, and I'm sure it'd be alright. And I'm sure the stems are going to freeze dry a little weird, but I mean that's okay. We can get them off once they're done freeze drying, and then we'll just grind all these bad boys up into a seasoning because you don't have to always just use cayenne pepper, right? You can use jalapeno pepper for your seasoning to give you a little heat in your meals. So let's get these in the freeze dryer. Okay, them bad boys are in. I'm interested to see how long this takes because
I'm interested too.
It's our first pre-frozen item.
Right.
We've always done fresh.
Yeah, frozen solid.
Yeah, and so that helps speed along the process because the first process is freezing the item.
But they have their stems, and if I had to guess, the stems might slow it down. Maybe.
Yeah, if it was cut open, it might go quicker. But I don't know. I'm very curious. I kind of like this game. Y'all responded well on the last one. My guess, because it's pre-frozen, 16 hours.
Ooh, I'm going to say 24.
24, 16, 24. What's your guesses for the jalapenos? Put it down below. It only took 4 hours to get through the freezing stage and jump over to vacuum freezing. That's like a record. I've never seen it go that fast. Give you updated times down below. Good morning. So the jalapenos are up to 23 hours and look like they still have a little ways to go. So I know mine's off. How's your guesses going? Do you want to put a second one down below on what you think it is going to be now? We also did get something exciting in the mail that I've been waiting on because it's very important for seed starting. So we got our little clip fans on. We just bought them off Amazon. We got one on that side and then one on this side. And as you can tell, they're really quiet. You can hear the freeze dryer in the back. But can you see the little bitty plants moving and kind of jiggling back and forth? This is really, really important for starting seeds inside. Why, you may ask? It's part of the hardening off process. So one of the biggest issues with seed starting indoors are your baby plants are very, very fragile. They're used to a controlled temp. They're not used to wind. They're not used to rain. They're not used to anything besides what you're doing for them. So it's important to not get leggy. So leggy is when your plants get real tall. That is partially due to the light. So that when the light is too far above the seeds or the seedlings, it is going to start stretching for that light, making them real leggy. That's going to, unfortunately, take them down too. When they get out, it's going to just drop over and they're not going to have strong stalks. Well, the second and probably most important part is giving it some wind. So even if you're following the light appropriately and you have nothing pushing those plants back and forth, the stalks are not going to get strong on those plants. And even though they may not look leggy, they're very weak. So it's an important part to keep your light just about 4 to 5 inches above your seedlings, and then also having some airflow back and forth. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. As you can tell, those fans are not pushing a whole lot of wind, but it's very important to do that and have it on it. If your light's on it, you can turn them off at night when you turn everything else off to make sure you grow really, really strong plants. For you all that may be taking your plants to the farmer's market, adds right to that. When you look at plants, I know one of the first things I look at is the stalk. I want to make sure it almost looks like a daggone tree because I want it to be a strong plant. I don't want it to be these little thin things because you can tell that they didn't have any movement. And they might not be as strong once you get them into the ground. There's your little tidbit. It has been, excuse me, Jen and I got a little something going on here. So my voice sounds a little funky. It has been a few days later. The jalapenos surprisingly took really, really long. They took 40 hours. It's pretty wild. But they're completely done. I'm sure that had something to do with them being completely full and not cut up. But they were pre-frozen, so I couldn't imagine how long it would take if they had to still freeze. That was pretty wild. So, did you guess right? Down below, around the 40-hour mark? It's pretty wild. Now it's time to take them out and do something with them. No, 20 seconds. Look. They're like popped. Okay, we have decided, especially since we're not feeling the hottest, we are just going to put them in bags. But I am going to take the risk here and try to buy them one. You gonna try one?
No.
Yeah, I told you we're not
The
going.
last thing I need. I'm curious if they're hot while they're freeze-dried.
No, I have zero heat, but I also intentionally didn't bite too far to get to the seeds. I was a little scared, but there's no heat. Could be my taste messing with me though.
Nope.
It tastes like a. It tastes fresh, but it's really dry. Obviously.
Like just the taste, but not the heat.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Try one. Just take a little nibble. I can't explain what it tastes like. It's not like when you do like blueberries and watermelon and different fruits. That tastes like candy. This is a jalapeno, so it doesn't have that sweetness to it.
It's really good.
Just real crunchy and yummy.
Yeah.
No spice, right? It's pretty wild.
I see seeds. So.
Yeah, I do too. I want to set one out and rehydrate it and see what happens. But we are just going to put all these in our Mylar bags and get them sealed up. And then we can figure out if we want to do something different later. Okay, that made 6 of the large Mylar bags, whole jalapenos. Like I said, we'll maybe figure out once we're feeling better if we want to do something differently. But if not, some of the thoughts that I have in my head is whole jalapenos are great for flavor, especially in soups. So if you're making soups, you can drop a couple of these in there, giving you that jalapeno flavor, and the soup itself will absorb and rehydrate it. So that would be really good. We do still want to crush up a bunch of them just as like seasoning. So think about like what you would use cayenne pepper for. Same thing, just with jalapenos, a different kind of flavor of heat. That's the cool thing about peppers. Like I said, we're so used to specific pepper seasonings that like jalapeno seasoning seems weird, but it's the same concept. So we'll do some of that. We'll leave some whole, and we'll be good to go. I do have one sitting here in water, if you can tell. So we'll see how it does when it rehydrates in the texture. Okay, now this was the remainder of our frozen peppers. We got jalapenos that are whole. That was just what was left over. We couldn't fit in the trays. Some banana peppers that are already cut up. Some sugar rush peppers, which if you've never grown these are amazing. They are very hot though. They're hotter than a jalapeno, but not as hot as say a ghost pepper, but it's got some good heat. Some more banana peppers cut up, and then some cayenne peppers. So I think what we're gonna do here is do an entire seasoning blend. We're gonna blend all of these together into the same seasoning packet. We think it would give a nice cayenne and sugar rush with that good heat, the sweet banana peppers, and a few jalapenos for a little mild heat. I mean, it's obviously gonna be spicy, but I think it's gonna be really good. So that is heading into the freeze dryer now. Okay, it's been a minute. The Bengals just won the AFC divisionals. They're heading to the AFC playoff. Who day, baby. All right. So I got this jalapeno. It definitely filled up with water. Like it filled up, so I tried to squeeze some of it out so it's nice and squishy. Now, definitely doesn't have the texture that one would have, that nice crispy skin. But let's see what happens. Still got a good snap, but it's definitely softer skin. But overall, it's not bad. Not bad for a rehydrated pepper. It's better than a frozen, than thawed pepper. I'll give you that. Man, there you go. Freeze-dried jalapenos. Hope you all have a good rest of the night. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you hit down below. And remember, Who Day.